So I just made a quick document breaking down the best outreach strategies for 2026. Now, everybody wants to know what the best outreach strategy is for 2026. That's the wrong question. The real question is which outreach channel gives you the highest ROI without destroying your time and sanity. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Isaiah. I run Copy Scale, a lead generation agency where we help high ticket B2B companies fill their calendars with qualified prospects. And I've tested every outreach channel you can think of: cold calling, Instagram DMs, cold email, LinkedIn. I've done everything. And I've spent money on all of them. And I've seen what actually works in 2025. And I have a pretty good idea what's going to work in 2026. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 4 major outreach channels. I'll show you what works, what doesn't, and which one you should actually bet on right now. And if you stick around until the end, I'm going to show you why one of these channels is about to dominate everything else in 2026. Okay, so first up, cold calling, right? Let's start with the OG. So cold calling is timeless. It's been around forever and it still works. And the reason it works is simple. It forces a real-time conversation. You get immediate feedback. You know right away if someone is interested or not. And here's the thing about cold calling that people forget. It builds thick skin. If you can handle 50 rejections a day on the phone, you can handle anything in sales. And the other benefit is speed. You get a qualified prospect on the phone in 30 seconds. You can pitch them, handle objections, and book a meeting all in one call. No waiting for replies. And if you're selling high ticket services, you can even close deals on the phone sometimes. Cold calling is still one of the fastest ways to generate revenue. But here's where it breaks down. Cold calling is brutally time intensive. You're trading hours for calls. And if you have hours to spend sitting on the phone, then fine. But most of you don't, right? You have a company to run. And not to mention, if you dial 100 numbers, you'll get maybe 10 good conversations. Maybe you book 1 or 2 meetings. You know, the math is rough. And let's be honest, most people hate it. You're dealing with gatekeepers, voicemails, and people who are genuinely pissed off that you called them. So it wears you down. And the only way cold calling scales is if you hire SDRs, right? Sales development reps, who do nothing but dial all day. But even then, you're looking at high turnover, expensive salaries, and constant training. And here's the critical part. Cold calling can't be your only strategy. You need to layer it with other channels. You need email follow-ups, LinkedIn touches, and maybe even retargeting ads. Because cold calls alone don't build enough trust to close a deal unless you're an absolute killer on the phone. So cold calling still works. It's still valuable if you have the time and stomach for it or the budget to hire a team, but it's not scalable on its own. So next up, we have Instagram outreach. And I see a ton of people trying this. They send DMs, they comment on stories, they try to build relationships through Instagram. And look, for B2C brands or influencers, this can work. But for B2B and for high ticket services, Instagram is a nightmare. The biggest problem with Instagram is that you can't find your ICP, your ideal customer profile. Let's say you're trying to sell marketing directors at SaaS companies. How do you find them on Instagram? You can't search by job title. You can't filter by company size. You can't see who works there. You're basically hoping you stumble across the right person. And even if you do find them, their Instagram is probably personal. They're posting vacation photos, gym selfies. They're not thinking about business problems, right? Compare that to LinkedIn, where every single person has their job title, company, industry right there. It's night and day. And the other issue with Instagram is the platform itself fights you. Instagram doesn't want you doing outreach. They flag accounts for spammy behavior. They limit how many DMs you can send. They shadow ban you if you're too aggressive. And even if you get through all of that, the response rates are terrible. Because when somebody gets a business pitch in their Instagram DMs, it feels invasive, like you're interrupting their personal space. So I'm not saying Instagram outreach never works. If you're selling e-commerce brands or creators, maybe. But for most B2B companies selling high-ticket services, Instagram is an absolute waste of time. So you're better off putting that energy into a channel where decision makers are actually expecting business conversations. And next up, we have cold email. So cold email used to be the absolute king. 7 years ago, you could spin up a few inboxes, send 1,000 emails a week, and book meetings like crazy. It was cheap, it was scalable, and it worked. But in 2026, cold email is dying. And I know it's been said a ton in the past, and us lead gen guys, we always found a way to get around whatever was blocking us. But unfortunately, Unfortunately, in 2025, it was not a good year for cold email bros. Google and Microsoft have completely destroyed the channel. They've rolled out AI filters that are so aggressive, your emails don't even make it to the inbox anymore. They go straight to spam or they just disappear. And I'm not talking about poorly written emails. I'm talking about well-crafted emails with spin tags put through ClayGen, GPT-4 personalization, verified emails, premium warm-up pool, spam checker approved. They're still getting flagged. Google even went as far as to ban a ton of legacy accounts a few weeks ago, completely wiping out millions of inboxes. Reply rates are also in the toilet. 3 years ago, a decent cold email campaign got you about 5 to 8% reply rates, but now you're lucky to hit 2%. And most of those replies are people asking to be removed from your list. But here's the worst part. The infrastructure. If you want to run cold email at scale in 2026, you need multiple domains, you need multiple inboxes per domain, you need to warm them up for weeks before you even send anything. You need to monitor deliverability constantly. You need to rotate IP addresses, you need to avoid spam triggers, you need to manually check if your domains are getting blacklisted. It's a full-time job just to keep the system up and running and not collapsing. And even when you do everything right, one spam report can tank the entire domain. Now, is cold email completely dead? Well, if you're already set up and you know what you're doing, you can still squeeze some results out of it, but the ROI is getting worse and worse every single month. And if you're starting from scratch in 2026, I wouldn't bet on cold email. You're fighting an uphill battle against platforms that are actively trying to kill your channel, and they're getting better and better at it. However, there is another channel that has taken the throne, and it's on par with the prime days of cold email. The new king of outreach in 2026 is going to be automated LinkedIn outreach with multiple accounts. This is a channel that is about to absolutely dominate everything in 2026. And it's a channel that I'm currently structuring my own agency around. And I'm going to tell you why. First, LinkedIn is where decision makers live. CEOs, marketing directors, agency owners, consultants, they're all on LinkedIn and they're there for business. They expect to have business conversations. And you're not interrupting their personal space like you are on Instagram, and you're not hoping to hit their inbox like with cold email. They're on LinkedIn specifically to network and do business. And second, you can target with precision. LinkedIn Sales Navigator lets you filter by job title, company size, industry, location, and even recent activity. You can build a list of 500 prospects within 10 minutes. Try doing that on Instagram and you're not going to get far. And third, your messages actually get delivered. LinkedIn has a 100% deliverability rate. Every message you send reaches the person. No spam filters, no blacklists, and no wondering if your infrastructure is broken. And number 4, the platform itself supports outreach. LinkedIn wants you to connect with people. They want you to have conversations. They're not fighting you like Instagram or Gmail. Most people doing LinkedIn outreach are stuck at the same bottleneck. They're sending messages from one account. One account means you're capped at about 100 actions per day, maybe 500 to 700 per week. If you're doing everything right, that gets you maybe 1 to 3 book calls per month, and that's your ceiling. But here's what most people don't know. The technology exists right now to completely blow past that limit. You can run multiple LinkedIn accounts simultaneously. 5 accounts, 10 accounts, each doing 100 actions per day. So that's 500, 1,000 outreach actions per day instead of 100. Same strategy, same messaging, but 5 times the value. And before you ask, yes, this is compliant. These aren't fake accounts. These are real aged LinkedIn accounts that you can rent. And they don't get banned, they don't get flagged. They look just like employees at your company, just doing some sales outreach. And real companies are seeing over 100 positive replies per month using just 5 accounts. 90% connection acceptance rates, 30% reply rates on messages, and compare that to cold email where you're lucky to hit 2%. So this is the future of B2B outreach in 2026. You're not fighting spam filters. You're not dealing with angry people on the phone. You're not hoping someone checks their Instagram DM. You're having real conversations with qualified decision makers on a platform that's built for business. So as I stated before, I'll be building my agency around this going into 2026, and we do this completely done for you. We set up 5 or more LinkedIn accounts. They're rented, aged accounts that look like real employees at your company. Professional profiles, optimized bios, company branding, and each account runs AI-powered automation, so connection requests, personalized message sequences, and follow-ups. And we have the appointment setters managing conversations. So when someone responds and they're qualified, We book them directly into your calendar. And the result, you're getting 5 to 15 qualified sales calls per week without you doing any of the work. So this is what's working right now, and the technology just became available, and most people don't even know this exists. But the companies that figure this out early are going to dominate, because while everybody else is fighting over cold email and burning out on cold calls, you're building genuine connections through LinkedIn. And here's the reality. Cold calling still works if you can stomach or hire a team. Instagram outreach is a waste of time for B2B, and cold email is slowly being destroyed by Google and Microsoft. So LinkedIn outreach is the only channel that's actually getting better, lower competition, higher reply rates, and you're reaching real decision makers. And a platform that promotes outreach instead of frowning upon it. And if you layer it with the multi-account strategy, you're not competing with anyone. You're playing a completely different game. So we're building this system right now for B2B companies. 5 or more LinkedIn accounts, fully managed AI-powered automation, appointment setters, qualifying leads, and we're taking 5 clients right now because this is a brand new offer and setup is hands-on. We're building custom profiles, configuring automations, targeting your specific ICP. So if you want in, there's a link below. We're going to audit your offer, show you exactly what this looks like for your business, and we're going to map out the entire system before you pay a dime. So if this is a system you'd like to run, you can book a call below and we'll talk soon.